the mystery of the big-footed thieves. Welcome to the enchanting village of Umuida, where beauty, wealth, and mystery collide. Once upon a time, King Ogbuefi, known for his wisdom and riches, had a daughter named Chineme, a vision of beauty sought after by all. But one fateful day, the royal palace was robbed of its golden crown, leaving the king puzzled and the village in shock. 2 years later, a bold challenge was announced. Whoever could jump the highest would win Chineme's hand in marriage.
All right, my dear. I want to tell you a story, one that was told to me by my own mother. It's an old tale, a tale from the heart of Umuida, and it's filled with lessons you might find helpful one day. Are you ready?
Yes, Mama. I'm ready.
Good. Now, once upon a time in the village of Umuida, there was a great king named Ogbuefi. Ogbuefi was no ordinary king. He was wise, strong, and incredibly wealthy. But what truly set him apart was his daughter, Chineme. Ah, Chineme. She was the kind of beauty that made heads turn and hearts race. People would say that the sun rose a little brighter just to shine upon her face. But her beauty was not the only reason why men wanted to marry her. No, my dear. They also desired her for the wealth of her father, King Ogbuefi. One day, on a beautiful morning, you know those mornings when the air is fresh and everything feels possible? On that kind of morning, the king and Chineme were invited to a naming ceremony. It was a grand occasion, full of joy, dancing, and celebration. You could hear the drummers beating with vigor and see the dancers moving with so much life. I can imagine Chineme smiling brightly, her laughter like a gentle breeze. Yes, just like that. But alas, as they returned to the palace that evening, everything took a turn for the worse. They arrived home to find chaos. The palace had been broken into. The king's prized possession, his golden crown, had been stolen. This wasn't just any crown, mind you. It was the symbol of his power and authority. Without it, he felt incomplete. The king, in all his wisdom, followed the footsteps left behind. They were big, unusually big, and the marks in the soil told a strange story. The thieves had jumped over the palace's high fence to get in.
Can you imagine that? Jumping over a fence so high that even the bravest warriors would hesitate?
Yes, exactly. Astonishing. King Ogbuefi knew everyone in Umuida, my dear. He knew the villagers like the back of his hand. But these thieves, no. They were like shadows, unknown and unseen. It troubled him greatly. For 2 whole years, he pondered how such a thing could have happened in his own village. But as the days turned to months, and the months turned to years, an idea began to form in his mind. Then, 2 years later, King Ogbuefi made an announcement that shook the entire village. He said, "I will marry my daughter Chineme to any man who can jump the highest in the village." Can you imagine the excitement, my dear? Every man, young and old, married and single, was eager to try. News of this challenge spread like wildfire. People whispered about it in the marketplace, discussed it in their homes, and dreamed about it in their sleep. Now comes the day of the great jump. Oh, what a day it was. The village square was filled to the brim. Everyone had gathered, from the youngest child to the oldest elder, all eager to see who would win Chineme's hand. The contestants lined up, each trying their best to jump higher than the last. Some jumped and barely left the ground. Others managed impressive heights, but nothing extraordinary. But then, my dear, the real competitors emerged. 3 brothers, Iweka, Emeka, and Onyeka. These brothers. They were known for their strength and agility, but no one suspected the secret they were hiding. First came the preliminaries. Iweka jumped and soared above the crowd. Then Emeka followed, and it was as if he defied gravity. Onyeka was no less impressive. People gasped and cheered. The semi-finals were even more intense. By then, most of the other men had been eliminated. It was down to these three brothers and a few others. But let me tell you, my dear, those brothers made it look easy. They dominated the competition, and soon enough, it was time for the final jump. Now in the final, something extraordinary happened. Iweka, the eldest and the strongest, took a deep breath. He bent his knees, looked up at the palace, and he jumped. Oh my goodness. He jumped so high that he seemed to touch the sky. He jumped over the palace, my dear.
Over the palace?
And if that wasn't enough, he suspended himself in the air like a bird. The crowd erupted in cheers, and people began to celebrate, thinking they had found the winner and the new prince. But King Ogbuefi was a wise man, remember? He had planned this day well. While the crowd was busy celebrating, he had sent his palace guards, the police, to the house of the three brothers.
Oh, what did they find?
The stolen golden crown, hidden away. My dear, the truth was out. Iweka, Emeka, and Onyeka. They were the thieves. Can you imagine the betrayal the king must have felt? The shock of the villagers. The guards arrested the brothers immediately. The crowd, once filled with joy, now fell silent. There was confusion, then anger. People couldn't believe it, but justice had been served. King Ogbuefi had not only found his daughter a worthy suitor, for no one else would dare jump as high as that, but he had also caught the thieves who had wronged him. So you see, my dear, this story isn't just about bravery or love. It's about wisdom, patience, and the truth that always finds its way to the surface. Chineme did not marry Iweka, of course. He was a thief, after all. But the lesson here is that everything done in darkness will one day come to light. What do you think, my dear?
Yes, it's quite a story.
Remember it well. It teaches us about the importance of honesty and the value of patience.
Justice prevailed in the village of Umuida. King Ogbuefi not only recovered his stolen golden crown, but also uncovered the true identities of the culprits who had wronged him. The brothers, Iweka, Emeka, and Onyeka, were punished for their crimes, serving as a warning that deceit and greed would not go unpunished. This tale reminds us that no matter how high one may leap, the truth will always come to light.